Good morning. We'll call this March 16th, 2021 meeting of the Sierra County Commission to order. This is our first open meeting, and we are still broadcasting through various outlets on YouTube and KCHS radio. So welcome. Clerk Trujillo, would you do a roll call, please?
Commissioner Paxson?
Here.
Commissioner Day?
Here.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Here.
Also in attendance is Manager Swingle, Dave Pato, our attorney, and Clerk Trujillo.
Okay. Commissioner Hopkins, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico as the symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures.
Thank you, Commissioner. We've got some guests in the audience. I see Candace Chavez is out there, our treasurer. Thank you for being here. Sergeant Dominguez, it's good to have you with us today. State Police Sergeant on our district here. Tony James is here. We'll hear from him a little bit later. I just want to take just a minute. We lost one of the sweetest ladies on the earth last week. Ms. Grace Kane went to heaven to meet her husband Jack, and she was an educator for, Lord knows, 40, 50 years, wasn't she, Hank?
Long time.
And such an example of unconditional love and just care and pride in children and knowing her students after they grew up and had kids, and just one of the sweetest ladies that ever graced the earth. So Grace is gone. We will remember her, and she did Sierra County well. It's great to leave a legacy, and that's what she did. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Day moves to approve the agenda as presented.
A second?
Moved and seconded. A roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion passes. Approval of the minutes. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Day moves to approve the minutes from the February 16th meeting.
I second?
Moved and seconded. A roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion passes. I see that we do not have any public comment. Is there none? Manager Swingle?
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, that is correct.
And there's nobody in the audience raising their hand, so no public comment. Is there a motion regarding the consent agenda?
Move to approve
Go ahead.
consent agenda A through D.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made. A roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
The consent agenda is approved. Presentations and report. Tony James, you want to approach the podium and tell us all we need to know. Tony is the acting fire management officer on the Black Range Ranger District.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Tony James. I work on the Black Range Ranger District, part of the Gila National Forest. And I'm here to discuss some of our planned events this spring, summertime, on the Indian Peaks area. As you can see right here is where the office is, Tier C roughly. And we're planning on doing some prescribed fire activity up here. Just to kind of give everybody a point of reference where they'll see some smoke from this coming spring, summer on a planned event. That's not saying that throughout the whole crest of the Black Range or other areas that there will not be wildfires that we will take action on also. Just be aware that any of these areas here on the crest, we're probably going to take a modified action on. And that means that we're not gonna put heavy boots on the ground or aviation stuff up on that crest. There's been fatalities in '94 from the guide fire. So you might see smoke in there, and we're gonna manage those fires, and we'll let Paul Tooley and the commissioners know as soon as those events happen. Keep people in the loop. Okay, Paul?
Just a second.
Okay. So for the planned event here, this is on that northern end of what's Indian Peaks area. And that project started in the late 80s, early 90s with Jim Paxton as the district ranger. He signed the NEPA approval on that and got that project started. It encompasses roughly 96,000 acres of private Forest Service land and some state land that adjoins it all. So we're currently working with the state to work in this area here. This is private. This piece is private. And we're working with El Paso Electric Power for 9 miles of the power line that feeds El Paso and pretty much all of Southwest Texas for that power. So we've been working with them so that we can protect this line in case of a catastrophic wildfire, a major event happening. And by doing that, we ensure power to El Paso and those other locations in the heat of summer. So we've been working with the landowners up here, the Adobe Ranch. They're in concurrence here. State Land Office is in concurrence with the project, and so is EPE to preserve that. We're looking at 7 to 10 days of active lighting using a helicopter. We'll probably have some drone UAS out there to show the results, first-hand results of it, and maybe some lighting with the UAS. The rest of it here, it's mostly pinyon juniper, so with the drought conditions that we do have at this time in the county and on the forest, we should be able to have a greater impact on those fuels that usually historically do not burn. So that's what we're planning there. You know, if the commissioners have any questions, please let me know. And
When are you gonna start this, Tony?
we're looking into April, into May is what it's planned right now. It's all weather dependent. You know, we keep getting these small storms that pushes us back a week,
Right.
but that's not a hindrance.
What is the long-term forecast for our area, say this summer, as far as like thunderstorms and stuff? Have you guys looked into that?
Yes, I actually have the long-term forecast with Mr. Tooley.
Does it look good?
No, it's very droughty. We're in severe stuff. I cannot do it justice for the slide presentation we have from the Weather Service. We need a meteorologist here. We looked at it earlier and it's very detailed, but we're in severe drought and there's not a great forecast for the summer through monsoons. Our historic monsoons, you know, last year were very mild. At best, we got 3 inches on the Adobe Ranch in 1 day, and then they didn't get anything else the rest of the season. So a lot of that moisture ran off. Everybody can tell here looking at the crest. Every day we get these storms every week or so, and what happens? Within a few days, there's north-facing slopes have small patches of snow compared to the whole mountain range being covered in snow.
Yeah.
So we're going to be cautious. We're going to wait for the right window, not the next window, and treat this fuels environment. This area here that we're looking at is 70% pinyon juniper, which, as you know, Jim, has been a huge hindrance trying to reduce. And if we can do that during a hotter, drier season, that'll benefit the watershed there. Each of those trees is estimated to take up to 600 gallons a month out of the watershed.
Wow.
So if we can reduce that, that helps the county, it helps all of us in the long run. So,
Well, those alligator juniper mostly in the component on the juniper side up there, isn't it?
yes.
This might be a perfect time because when they're drought stressed, you can kill them a lot easier and they don't sprout.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, it's going to be a tough season, but I would encourage the Forest Service to be aggressive in your burning out there to achieve the best possible results. And I've had that discussion with your ranger, Mike Hutchins, and I know that y'all will do the job.
Yes, and we'll be sending out press releases. We've been working with the local radio station and the Forest Public Information Officer to say, hey, even if there's a smoke or a prescribed burn, any of that stuff in neighboring districts that are going to impact truth or consequences Sierra County, we want to get that information out. If you have any questions, please call the office. We want to be part of the community and continue to build with the community, so.
One question.
Go ahead.
So a couple years ago, Tony, the Forest Service did a prescribed burn, and there was a lot of questions in the community as far as the timing. Can you just explain, just for the public, why you guys are doing it in April and May?
Okay, so we try to hit the historic fire regime. You go back and there's history dating back 100 years when fires naturally burned. So we're trying to hit those natural windows when fire burned to get the best results overall and get it back to that natural condition class where there was the open meadows, because fire did that naturally 100 years ago out here on this landscape. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, just a question. Tony, how many acres are you going to burn?
10,876.
So another question, Tony, have you done pre-treatment underneath the 345 kV power line?
Yes, we've been working with El Paso Electric Power.
Okay.
They've been going out there contracted, and they cleared the whole power line. We're going back through underneath the power line and removing all the material, all woody material from not only the base, but also the guide wires. Because those guide wires, what happens is they're epoxied into the ground. When that epoxy gets hot, it gets brittle. So the next year, they could have a negative effect during the windy season. So we're removing all that material there, and we're going to meet with them beginning of April to make sure it meets their standards before doing any prescribed fire.
Good.
Good luck.
Good. Anything else?
None.
Okay, well, thank you for coming before us today. Tell you, Ranger, hello. Is your office open again? Are y'all
Our office
receiving
is
visitors?
partially open.
Partially?
People can call, get wood permits, get any other permits, call the front desk. They'll get your permit ready. You show up at the door, call the office. They'll go out and hand you your permit. So we're slowly opening up as we manage the COVID response.
Oh, good. Good. Well, thanks for being here today.
Thank you, guys.
So we'll continue with reports. Manager Swingle?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. I'd like to start with safety award that the county received, and Sierra County's honorable mention. So we came in second place in reducing our workers' comp claims. Last year we won it, and I'd kind of like to get a picture with the commission and Dora. Dora's in charge of our safety efforts. We take safety and risk management very serious here in Sierra County, and Dora works very hard to ensure that we're in compliance and to ensure that we're caught up on our trainings, our RAP trainings, and follows up on our inspection reports, ensuring that any deficiencies are corrected timely. And she really does ride herd on all of us quite well. So she deserves a lot of recognition for where we are today.
Sure. Let's get photos.
No, go ahead. It's commissioners. Stand up, Dora. Oh, you are.
Thank you, Dora. Good job.
Get that posted on the wall. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, if I would continue, COVID's been certainly the topic of discussion for the last year. We're currently a little over halfway of our gating period for the next 14 days. Right now, there are 7 counties that are turquoise. There are 7 counties that are green, 18 counties are yellow, and 1 county is red. We were one of the first counties, there's 3 of us that were turned turquoise 3 weeks ago, and we'd like to remain that way.
Amen.
Right now, our daily positivity rate is about 0.85% for this gating period, which is exceptional. I think we have about 4.5 is what we averaged. Cases per 100,000 population. So we're looking very good as we continue in this period. We have 3 cases thus far in the 14-day period, so things are looking very good for us. From emergency management's perspective, we've issued out over 275,000 pieces of PPE. Last week we issued over 68,000 pieces in large shipments. We had to take a trailer to Deming, and we barely fit in the trailer and inside the vehicle. Probably should have taken some straps to strap everything down. We had such a large load, but we have quite an inventory available to us, and the hospital does as well at this point. And we're in the best position we have been during the entire pandemic right now for personal protective equipment. Smithco, the building, they're just about complete with the interior walls. They are ahead of schedule. The roofers should be done this week with the roof. Last week they would have been done, but they quit working on Monday last week just because of the high winds we had. It just wasn't safe for them or productive for them to work in that wind. Staff has been monitoring legislative issues, and the last day of the session is Saturday.
Hallelujah.
At noon. And I don't have to tell you what a disaster this legislative session has been.
Absolutely.
It's been really hard on local government statewide, and I think for our citizenry as well. House Bill 4 is supposed to be heard today. Very likely going to get supported and approved, and it'll go to the governor. We had a county manager conference call, and many of the managers were saying the governor certainly isn't going to sign this bill. And the response was she probably is going to sign the bill as approved. We're just now starting the 21-22 budget process. We have 2 agreements that are on the agenda, and this is kind of long overdue. We have the capital outlay agreements for $255,000 for road equipment that was approved last year, and the $200,000 for the array ball field. And I have to say, Jocelyn is really taking the lead on the ball field, and she's really excited about this project.
Good.
She's very, very involved in it. So look for a very good project. Mr. Chair, I don't know if you want to update the group on our meeting with Sunzia this past week, but Sunzia came by and gave a visit. So,
Go ahead.
well, thank you. Sunzia has been, on the radar for some time, and they've had a number of issues that they've been dealing with in getting the permitting to build the transmission lines. They've altered their target dates now. Their target dates are 2022 for construction of the transmission lines, and 2025 they'll actually go operational and live, providing energy to Arizona and Texas. Arizona and California.
And it is all green energy.
Green energy,
Yeah.
100%. And they would like to come in the next month or 2 and give a presentation for the full commission, as well as just public awareness for the community.
And we had, 67 miles in Sierra County?
70.
70 miles.
70
in Sierra
miles.
County. Yep.
Yeah, the transmission line doesn't go directly north-south, has a little bit of an angulation to it, so it's a little more than the length of the north-south borders of the county. So that's good news for us. Update you, Sierra Vista Hospital Board, we have a meeting on the 25th, general meeting, and then strategic planning session on the 31st. Quorum's going to be facilitating that strategic planning, and a lot of it will be based on the community needs assessment that was just completed for our community. A lot of discussion about that, looking for new opportunities of new services that can be provided or extended in this community.
Is a dialysis clinic still in the mix there?
It is one of the topics of discussion, yes,
That's
sir.
good. That's good.
I sent you all a copy of the American Rescue Bill, or the Coronavirus Rescue Bill. Digesting, it's all in its infancy. However, we are supposed to have the 50% of the funding within 60 days, and then approximately a year later, we'll receive the other 50%. Sierra County's looking, and these are estimates at this point, a little over $2 million will come to Sierra County. A little over $300,000 for Elephant Butte, $1.3 million for Truth or Consequences, about $95,000 for Williamsburg. There are a number of caveats on what this money can be used for, and we're trying to get a better interpretation. They're giving us guidelines. These are 4 caveats where the money can be used, but it doesn't have to only be used there. So we're trying to find out what is a legitimate use of the funding. It's kind of frustrating from our perspective. We're receiving 13 cents on the dollar in reimbursement for our expenses during the pandemic that are pandemic related, and yet none of the money can be used based on the criteria they've sent us thus far, can be used to reimburse us or compensate the county for our expenses. More to come on this. It's in its early stages, in the infancy of it, and hopefully we'll have some credible guidelines before we actually receive the money. I also gave you a copy of the capital outlay. This is as of yesterday. Of course, anything can happen between now and it's actually signed off on. But right now, 3 of the 5 projects, the top 5 projects of the county, our priorities, have been funded. The Bridge of Grace, we were requesting $32,500 to cover the county share of the Colonias grant. We funded up to $100,000. The new administration complex, the county building, we received $100,000 for paving the parking lot, which that's really good news. And we received $150,000 for the shuttle, so to purchase those shuttles. And then there's a total $1.7 million was identified for projects within Sierra County and the municipalities, Garfield Water Project, et cetera. The last thing I want to update you on is I gave you a copy of the table of enactment dates for our gross receipts tax. This year, the state changed things up on us. Our gross receipts tax historically, in the first page is the old version, the old formula, and the second page is the new formula and delegation of GRTs. All of our GRT increments were broke down and had very specific uses, whether it be general fund or restricted. Restricted for indigent, restricted for environmental corrections, communications. Now they've streamlined that to where, and what this is going to do is cause a little consternation for our treasurer in trying to ensure that the appropriate dollars go to the appropriate location. So she's going to have to come up with new formulas to work this out over time. There's basically going to be 5 categories, 5 pots of money. County-wide gross receipts tax, county area gross receipts, the hospital, communications, and the spaceport. They de-earmarked, and ironically, most all of our GRTs were voted on by the public to what it would be used. State statute, they just came in, made the change, and there's no election, no discussion. This is where the funds are going to go from now on. So it's going to take us a little while to work through this, because what we have to be very cautious about, particularly at budget time, is ensuring that all of those funds that were being used out of restricted funds, we don't use that money for other purposes that are now identified as general fund dollars. So it gives us a little more latitude, but we also, our expenses are our expenses. Those restricted cost did not change. So we'll be very cognizant of that in the budget process.
Will that complicate our audit?
I don't think it'll complicate the audit other than as far as us working through it, because at least 1/8 of the indigent fund has to still be used for indigent. However, it's going into general fund dollars now. So we have to be cognizant of that and ensure that that money is identified in some manner in the budget, that it is indigent dollars for at least the 1/8. Mr. Chair, we invited all of the departments to come forward and to give their reports verbally today. Unfortunately, George and Virginia will not be able to make it today. Virginia's mother is in very bad shape and in the hospital, and she's not expected to make it. And it should be virtually any time now where she passes.
Yeah.
So our hearts go out to the Lees.
Yep.
The other departments, I know Flood is actually out on an inspection right now with some state agencies, and Ernie is dealing with a family emergency. So you do have other departments that are here to report.
Okay. Any questions to the manager? No. Okay. Treasurer Chavez, you want to come tell us how tax collection's going? And anything else you want to visit about?
Good morning.
Morning.
How's everybody today?
Good.
Yeah, March 16th, property tax collection. As of the 12th, we've collected 71% of the Sierra County property taxes for 2020. And we're geared up and ready to go for the second half of property taxes. Just a reminder, due dates are April 10th through May 10th, and penalty and interest will begin accruing as of May 11th. So please make sure to have your taxes in before this date. And we are in the process of renewing our marked CDs. As you all know, interest rates are not where we would like them to be. We've renewed for 1 year with the hope that the rate of return will increase over the coming year as our economy hopefully gets back to normal. So that's all that
Questions?
I have today. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Candy.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Clerk Trujillo, you have anything to share with the group?
I do not, except that we are fully staffed and we are anticipating the end of legislation.
Amen. Sheriff Hamilton, our representative to New Mexico counties, what a difficult job it's been this year, huh?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, Mr. Manager. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster during this session, the sequestered session, as we're calling it. A quick update on the Sheriff's Office. We filled our last vacancies 2 weeks ago, so we are fully staffed. We were able to pick up one certified officer, so he's in the process of just making that transition orientation. We do have one that's currently attending the Law Enforcement Academy. I believe he just finished his 5th or 6th week, so he's got about 10 weeks left of that, and we'll be getting him back just about the time that summer kicks off, and hopefully things are back to at least a semi-normal standard around here, and we'll make sure that he gets the experience that he needs, along with the support that he needs from the staff. Not much going on the law enforcement side. We've COVID has given us a break. We're kind of in the category right now where we're getting everybody trained up, getting everybody all the reports sent off to DPS for the training requirements on our biennium training mandates. We just finished our I think 6 out of the 12 blocks just this last week that we were able to put on. So again, this is kind of a downtime during the year, right before spring kicks off. So it gives us an opportunity to catch up on a lot of that stuff. Legislative session, again, HB4. We've been really trying to stay on top of that. There's been a lot of law enforcement bills that we've been tracking in New Mexico counties. Brian Moore and Grace Phillips and Steve Kopelman have been extremely helpful in keeping us in the loop on that and being our mouthpiece for us. They're up there and they have direct contact with a lot of those lawmakers, or at least phone contact with them. So what we've been having to do, the strategy this year is we identify some of the problems that we may have with legislation, relay that information to them, and then they reach out on our behalf. And then we attend in any and every virtual meeting that we can and try to get our voices heard. So there were several law enforcement bills that could have been detrimental to the way we operate and the way law enforcement it basically would take away our effectiveness. SB 227, that's the one we're really looking at right now. It appears as though it's stalled. And so we're hoping that with just a few days left in this session that it'll remain on the committee desk, and we can revisit that in the interim. It's actually what we've been asking for. It talks about law enforcement reform, or it touts law enforcement reform, but there's nothing about reform in that bill at all. It's strictly punitive, and we've asked that during the interim, if they would prefer to go this route, that we would at least have a sit down at the table with them to draft something that would be agreeable. But outside of that, again, we're looking forward to the end of this session and trying to come out as whole as we possibly can without too many injuries. So I'll stand for any questions.
Questions? No. Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
New Mexico State Sergeant Dominguez, do you have anything to share with us?
No, sir.
Thank you for being here.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Rhodes. Billy.
Oh, Billy Neely, yes. Come on up, Billy.
And
Michael. And Michael, yeah.
thought you were going to get away.
Thanks for the
Chair,
help, huh?
Commissioners, how are you guys today?
Good.
Well, we've been working around the county trying to get a couple of cattle guards replaced and repaired. So we've done a few in Monticello. Got a couple done in Engle, and 2 in Animas Creek that were damaged by a semi truck that shouldn't have been there. But we got those all repaired. Been cleaning some culverts. Commissioner Hopkins had a little bit of an issue with some water bars possibly, and we cleaned a couple of cattle guards up in San Miguel there. Got some water off the road, help it out a little bit more. Just our regular blade maintenance. We got our road certification done. It's supposed to be in the 1st, so it's all here. Like Bruce said earlier, we got our capital outlay money, $255,000 for some new equipment, which was badly needed. We're going to try to spend that on some dump trucks, possibly a mower for the new trade we're doing with the State Highway Department. We're going to need a different kind of a mower than what we have to maintain those roads. Possibly a belly dump trailer, so we can distribute some hot mix a little easier. It makes the patching a lot easier for us to do. We're going to try auctioning off, putting a few of our old dump trucks once we get our new ones, maybe on gov deals, and try to work through on getting rid of some of our old stuff. We got a lot of older equipment we don't really need in our yard right now, so we're going to really try to liquidize some of that and maybe afford a new water truck or something with that money. So we're waiting on Wilson and Company to finalize an archaeology survey for Percha, which is a project we have for this year. The Santa Fe archaeology they said we needed to get a survey so we could proceed with that. And we finally got it done. They're supposed to be finalizing it this week, and we'll get that sent off to Santa Fe and hopefully proceed to get the rest of our money. Usually by now we're already halfway through the project, so we may end up having to get us an extension, but we'll do our best. And today we're actually starting on some of our SP projects, which is all of our re-chip seal roads. So I think we're doing 4 of them this year, maybe 5. That'll be just re-chip sealing some roads that are already chip sealed. So we're doing some pothole patching, and we got to remove a little bit of dirt from the edge of a road, which we're starting today. So I think that's about all we got.
Questions? Thank you. Billy, how's the new chip seal holding up on the South Fork Mine Road, the 157? Is that doing good
It
climbing
is,
that
it's
hill?
doing really good right now,
I
so.
see a lot of truck traffic up there.
Yeah, well, we'll probably get an average about 6 trucks a day at the very least go through there, so, so far it's holding up really good. I've been checking on it pretty often,
Good,
just to make sure the trucks aren't tearing it up, but it seems to be holding up really nice.
good. Well, we appreciate your efforts.
Thank you.
You're doing good on our county roads.
Yeah.
I haven't had any complaints.
Well, good, that's good to hear.
All right.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. Michael, you got anything to share with us?
We've done a control burn at the Ray Ball Field, got all the weeds and the dead grass down. We've been spraying around the fire departments in the buildings, preventive maintenance for the weeds, and we're still going around all the buildings and sanitizing them and disinfecting them. That's about it.
Questions? Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Vice Chair Day, you have anything to share with the group?
Yeah, just more of a positive. I know we've been in turquoise for a while, and I'm just excited that I actually got to go to a football game this weekend. And I just want to keep everyone aware, even though we are in turquoise, we're still not fully open. And so I anticipate the day we are 100% open and mask-free.
Amen.
That's all I have.
Amen. Well, good. Commissioner Hopkins?
I'm good.
All right. Well, I think that we're done with reports. We'll go to Board of Finance. County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, this is where normally, now that we have in-person again meetings, the Treasurer's Office will update you on their reconciliation. Would you like to update, or would you like me to? It's just a copy of the reconciliation.
They should have it in their packet, correct?
Yep,
Yes,
we
they
do.
do. This is reconciliation for the month of February.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no questions, I move to approve the February reconciliation.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
It's always good to have balances balanced, so the reconciliation is approved.
We're not broke.
Do we have any old business? Manager Swingle?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, we do not.
We'll go to new business then. And we have a couple of take-home vehicle requests. Sheriff, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is the requirement that we have to fulfill when we get new hires, and we're getting ready to assign them their vehicles. These vehicles actually will not be taken, will not be used to drive home for these two individuals. One of them is actually moving from his El Paso residence to Sierra County, so until such time as he gets his Sierra County residence, he won't he'll be parking his vehicle at the sheriff's office or at one of the deputies' houses in the southern area. The other deputy, Deputy Avalos, actually resides in Hatch, and so he will not be authorized to take home vehicle. This is kind of the formality that we do this in the event that I send him to Las Cruces, say overnight, or send him home overnight. He's got to go to Las Cruces the rest of the way to pick up an inmate and bring him back. That's basically why I request this for those individuals that reside outside of the confines of Sierra County.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, just a question, Sheriff. Will they be staging the vehicles at, say, like the Array Fire Department or something like that?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Manager, no, actually, we have two deputies that reside in Array. Those vehicles will they made arrangements to park those at those deputies' residence. I actually don't allow them to park them like at a fire station or something there because there's not 24-hour surveillance on the vehicles, or at least constant monitoring of the vehicles. If they were unable to, if I didn't have anybody in that southern area, they would actually be required to park those at the sheriff's office.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Questions?
None.
Is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, could we do them both at once? I think
I
that'd be
think we
appropriate.
can. Can we not, Attorney?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the 2 vehicle take-home requests.
I second.
Moved and seconded. A roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Sheriff, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Contracts, agreements, and procurements. Manager Swingle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. What you have before you is a memorandum of agreement between the New Mexico Department of Health and Sierra County. It's to provide them a site they can use in the county or in the area that they can do vaccination events should they be able to schedule an event. The site that we've selected is the Albert Line. That's the center that they wanted to use. So we would, by this MOU, if you approve it, or MOA, it would allow them to have those events at the facility, just giving us notice that they're going to put on the event. Then we'll make the arrangements with the Fair Board to notify them that the event's going to take place. Typically, they're 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, something in that time frame.
Sure. Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the MOA between the New Mexico Department of Health and Sierra County.
Second.
Moved and seconded. A roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion is approved. The State of New Mexico DFA and Sierra County Agreement. This was what Billy was referring to, the Manager Swingle.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, yes, he was, and yes, he's already looking for equipment to purchase. This is the agreement for the $255,000 for the road equipment. This was approved last legislative session. We're only about 10 months behind schedule, and it's all related to COVID and other issues with DFA. However, once the commission signs this, we will go ahead and forward the agreements to the state, and we should receive funding in probably around 30 days. So it's a capital outlay project.
How much equipment can you buy for $255,000 even on GSA contracts?
Mr. Chair, I have spoken to Billy, and they're probably going to be looking at used equipment for the most part. You can't buy a lot of equipment.
Stretch that dollar, Billy.
This is something that we should keep on our ICIP every year because they're always looking for equipment. And everything they can purchase through ICIP is going to be a benefit to this community.
Well, I think one of the things that we need to note is that for our citizens of Sierra County, that we do stretch those dollars and get good equipment, but used is cheaper than new, and we make it work. So that's a good thing. Appreciated. Yep.
Mr.
Comments,
question.
Commissioners?
I know there were some issues, Bruce, with the capital outlay. There were some caveats. Did we ever work through those, or as far as the requirements that the state was asking?
We, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, Commissioner Day, we worked them to the extent that there were some stipulations, just reporting that we'll have to comply with for the next 12 months. Okay. And we'll do whatever they ask to get the funding. This has gone on long enough.
Yeah.
The road equipment is important, but that array field, the next item on the agenda, is extremely important to that community. So we want to get it done.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Day moves to approve the agreement between DFA and Sierra County for $255,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Shelley, roll call, please.
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion is approved. Let's get that equipment.
Get the order.
Item C, State of New Mexico Department of Finance Authority and Sierra County agreement for that capital appropriation project for $200,000. Manager Swingle.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is another project that's a year old, waiting on the contracts and the funding to be delivered to us. It's $200,000 for the array complex, the baseball field, grassing that, creating a soccer field for them, realigning the field so that they can have Little League tournaments and just getting it up to standard. It's also going to be a park with some shade structures and picnic tables in the area. And we really appreciate Representative Trazas' efforts to try and get additional funding to us for this project. It just couldn't be done. Legislative Council Services wouldn't authorize it at this time. However, he will put the money in next fiscal year, and we'll just keep growing that complex for the community. They are ecstatic. They're excited. We've given them the option of baseball season is right around the corner. Do they want to wait till after the season for us to start the project and start tearing up the field, or do they want to forego the season and have us get started right away? They're waiting to hear from Little League on Little League may be canceling the entire season this year, so it may be a moot issue. If they cancel the season, then we can get on it right away. Otherwise, the kids have been through enough with schools and all the problems that they've had with schools that we don't want to take their baseball season from them if we don't have to. So we're trying to get that sorted out with the community on when we'll start the project. Jocelyn is heavily involved in drafting the request for proposals, the RFP now, and it's coming along very nicely. I think the community is going to love the end result.
Good. Well, I think Commissioner Day should be proud of his involvement in that. He's been a huge advocate and a cheerleader for that array community and that project, so congratulations on that, too.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Day moves to approve the agreement between DFA and Sierra County for $200,000.
Second?
Moved and seconded. A roll call, Shelley.
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion passes. I was in the dentist chair with Dr. Feltz, and he's the head of the Little League here in Tier C, and he was telling me that they are pretty excited because they're expecting approval to have a season this year.
Well, good.
So perhaps that will go to array as well. We can sure hope so. Commissioners, we did not receive the intergovernmental agreement for the amendment on AeroVironment. Need a motion to table this issue.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Shelley, roll call.
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Motion is tabled. We'll take it up when we do get the IGA. So we're moving to item 10, resolutions, ordinances, and proclamations. Resolution 109068, the annual road department mileage certification. Manager Swingle.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioners, this is an annual requirement from the state based on the number of miles that we certify, that we maintain, equates to the funding formula and the amount of money that the county receives for the three projects, school bus, special projects, and co-op. This year, it's 573 miles, 0.2 miles. I just have to say that the department has 3 blade operators and 3 road crew folks that are actually working, building, and maintaining roads. It's not a huge department, and the work that we get out of them and the quality of the work that we're getting out, it's fantastic. Billy and the staff, the road department, really need to be commended for maintaining all those miles of road in this county
It's a lot of...
on a daily process. It is. It's a lot of work, and most people would think we have 10 or 12 employees out there working on roads. We do not. He's got 6, and they do a fantastic job, each and every one of them. Billy, do you have any comments on the road certification? Not only do you have the resolution to sign, but Christie will give you a map with the road certification, and all three of you will need to sign that.
And we actually gained a couple of miles this year that were taken off probably 3 or 4 years ago. For some reason, they just weren't added on. It was CO 54. I think it's 4.3 miles. That was just kind of lost, and we've been maintaining it, so we just added it back on to our...
Where is that, Billy?
That is a road from exit 89 down to the Monticello RV Park.
Okay.
Yep. It's chip sealed and going to be coming up in the next few years to be re-chip sealed because it's in pretty rough shape. So, and hopefully down the road we may try to go ahead and start adding a few other roads that were needed to be added on, but we'll work on that in the next couple of years. But
Good.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Hopkins moves to approve the resolution 109-068 road department mileage certification.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson,
Yes.
Commissioner Day,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Motion passes. We're to the executive session. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Day moves to go into executive session pursuant to Section 10-15 E through H to discuss matters in regards of pending and threatened litigation, personnel, and real estate reasons as listed on the agenda.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call, excuse me. Roll call, Shelley.
Commissioner Paxson,
Keep me straight. Yes.
Commissioner Day,
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins.
Yes.
Okay, we can go into executive session. We will return. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
Mr. Chair, I move to come out of executive session and certify that no action was taken and only matters listed on the agenda were discussed.
I second.
Moved and seconded. A roll call, Shelley?
Commissioner Paxson?
Yes.
Commissioner Day?
Yes.
Commissioner Hopkins?
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We are adjourned. The next meeting, what's the date of the next meeting? It's March 20th,
April?
April 20th.
April 20th of 2021 at 10 a.m. here in the chambers. We're adjourned.